From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening of Evenings LA with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 direct from Santa Monica, California tonight. An incredible recon was passed in a subcommittee several weeks ago and will be rubber stamped with a vote. But will that vote on the House side happen tonight? I have the latest breaking details about the deal and the vote. Will the vote happen tonight? If it's not tonight, then when? We'll be turning over to the exciting news as the price is still amorphic, and that's good for you because more programs could still be added to this incredible recon that'll pay you on average about $15,000 across all these incredible clusters of checks. We'll be turning over to the programs in and the programs out, and one program really a battleground tonight. We did not see this one coming. Breaking news on this evening's LA broadcast. Then, student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven across the board. We turn over to this stimulus, which heats up and definitely needed in view of the new inflation numbers released this morning. Whoa, that was a big whammo. But in this recording, we have a lot of breaking news as the president, has he signed the roads and bridges to law yet? I'll explain it in this video. The vote. Is the vote happening tonight? I'll explain in this video. What happened in the Congressional Budget Office report? What's the battleground about the housing aid in this recon? And those details and more, plus a shocker of an inflationary report. Boy, we got a big recording tonight, and I'm excited you're here. It's a beautiful evening across the coast. Perfect time to stroll along the pier and look for some stimulus or look for some ice cream. It's one of the two. But I'm here, you're here, and it's time for Evenings Highlights. Everybody, I hope you're having a beautiful evening across the board. We have a lot of breaking news tonight on this Evenings LA broadcast. The deal happening, but the deal now takes a different form based upon strange words that were released last night. I'll explain what's going on. Vote happening. Is the vote happening tonight or not? And if it's not tonight, then it will definitely happen next week. I have the latest detail of this strange saga that is manifesting itself, and we don't particularly have a clear answer about it yet. Price is right. 1.75? No, we're going higher because more programs will be added across the board. This is good news for you. Then we can turn over that student loan debt forgiveness. More debt can be forgiven when this lands over in the by executive order. We do not need it by recon student loan debt. Then we turn to this stimulus, which is right behind that. Definitely needed in face of the inflationary numbers released this morning. I have those numbers as well. It's a big, bold evening broadcast. I'm excited you're here. It's a good day. It's a good night. And this is LA, America's most talked about financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, tape in the afternoon is coming up next as a continuation of our 3-hour programming block. Evenings, countdown, and streams in those 3 hours of shows back to back every night. So subscribe, like this video, and consider becoming a member to get that newsletter that's coming out about 2 hours right after the show. In this recording, we got a lot going on, so let me give you a broad overview of what this recording is going to cover. First, we're going to go over the incredible recon that passed in a subcommittee and is now in House bill and will get rubber stamped just a few days from now. And those clusters that will pay you on average about $15,000 across all these incredible checks. Then at the commercial break, we'll come back and look back at that deal reached last Friday. It takes new form tonight for the first time ever on Evenings LA. We'll see an issue at hand. We'll be looking over the Congressional Budget Office. Have they finished the report? And if so, why not? Then we look over to the roads and bridges. Has the president signed into law? And if so, why not? Then we turn to each of these incredible checks. So it's time to then get that pen and paper ready and show you how to get those incredible sums of money. And with that, let's start with the incredible details across this incredible recon tonight by looking at the first items we need to know, which is that $15,000 that you can get across all these incredible clusters of checks in this recon. It's very very important that when this recon was in a subcommittee, it was larger. But now it's in a House bill, and that House bill is going to get rubber stamped in just a few days. And across all these incredible clusters of checks, you're going to get paid on average about $15,000 from these incredible programs. These are the same programs that were in third stimulus. The viewers of this channel got on average in third stimulus about $45,000. So $15,000 is obviously a very conservative number. Let's go over the first cluster of three and the first three add-ons and see how these numbers line up. Get those pen and paper ready. This is the overview part of the recording. And we start with the first cluster, and everything survived. Hazard pay got in there. And when I say something is a hard cold cash check, or upfront, it means an upfront check, or back end, a back end check. Hazard pay, back end, got in there one more year for my essential workers. Then $4,000 of eldercare for those wonderful for those wonderful people that need those benefits. That is a front end check. They got money also for caring for young children, and then they got the college students a check of $550 additional for the Pell Grant. Meantime, the CTC also a front-end check. They got that for one more year, $3,600 or $3,000. And then they got home repairs if you live in a low-income community. This is front-end checks as well. Finally, they got $12,500 for the purchase price of your first electric vehicle. That is a back-end check. That is a union shop, 15% if it's an electric bike as well. Wow. The first add-on comes from Maxine Waters. Housing aid was in this recon, then removed. Then she pushed to get it back in. She got it pushed back in, and she added in there money for the purchase price of your first home. She originally wanted $25,000. She ain't going to have that number, but she is going to get the number for the purchase price of your first home. Stay with me later in this video. I'll go over how to get that money. Let's turn to the second cluster of checks, and let's see what happened with those. Are you ready? I am. So here we go. And that second cluster is paid family medical leave, thousands of dollars. How to get it? Stay with me. Coming up later in this video. Pre-kindergarten, this is 1 year free up front. Tuition-free community college out. Then we have household tax credits in there back end, and we got money in there to weatherize your home. Oh, wow. You definitely need to weatherize your home, especially if Mitch comes knocking at the door dressed as a lobster. Don't let him claw his way in. And don't be a crab about it either. And say, sir, I don't want you battered, but I'd rather have you leave. There you go. Let's go to the second add-on of checks. Those second add-on of checks come from Bob Casey, Senator Bob Casey, and it's great. It is, that is not the second add-on of checks. Here is the second add-on of checks. Bam! $250 billion for the home health care and people who are seniors. It's great. They wanted $250. They didn't get that number. They got a little bit less, and it's great. It is a covered benefit. It's totally free, and it's from Bob Casey and Joe Biden. Let's go to the third cluster of checks. Let's see the survival mode of those. So let's see which survived the negotiations that are going to be passed by the House. Free school meals for all survived. That's $65 a month per child. Hard cold cash checks. Cheaper prescription medication survived. Not a check. Immigration reform in there. Not a check. Farmers don't know. Free internet don't know. Clean energy out. Worker protection, workers like independent contractors don't know. And then the Medicare expansion got in there somewhat. Let's go over the three items in that Medicare issue. First, dropping the Medicare eligibility age? No, not yet. It's not in the House. It's not going to be in the House bill. Maybe the Senate. Vision or hearing? Nope. Vision and dental? No. Maybe on the Senate side. This is what Bernie wants to take care of. And what is in there? Hearing and the Medicaid holdout states. Got that covered in there as well. Wow. Which brings us to the third add-on. And that third add-on is monthly or multiple IRS stimulus checks. What's important for you to know is that there is a full body of people who are ready to make modifications to this legislation when it lands in the Senate. Senate is not the House. House is not the Senate. The House is going to pass what you see right now that does not have MSCs in it as a House bill. Then it's going to go over the Senate, and then the senators have a lot of work to do. It's not a one-day job, and they say, oh, we're done. No. They have a lot to work. In the second half of this video, we go over how much work they have to do and two opportunities to add stuff into this legislation when it lands in the Senate. Senate Subcommittee or Senate Votorama. Senate Subcommittee is where the legislators take the bill and add it into subcommittees where they add stuff in there. Bernie's the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee, so he could add stuff in there on the Senate side. But then the other opportunity is the two-day vote-a-rama. The two-day vote-a-rama is a critical day of legislation across the country where senators introduce changes or additions to the House bill that the House members often didn't even think about. That was the case under third stimulus, with the student loan debt forgiveness being a tax-free event. Chuck and Liz said, you know what? We need to do this because otherwise people have to pay $10,000 of taxes to IRS if their debts are forgiven. So they got it, and that was done during the vote-a-rama. House members have never thought about it. So it's important for you to advocate across the board. No time to be a donut guy or donut gal. Don't be sitting back and asking, what day is it landing in my hand? When is it landing when it comes to the Senate? Donut. We do not do that. They now have in total between congressional senators' offices sees more context of advocacy for the LA Purple Power. We advocate here. This is what the chief of staff to the number one legislator, the recon, explains to us. Everyone's amazed by the touching stories of advocacy. Now they have a better understanding of what Americans are going through than a bunch of signatures in an American petition. They have heartbreaking stories in the LA viewers, and they are the voice of the people in ULA. As you continue to be too loud to be ignored, very, very kind. Then we have the last sentence, but please continue your encouragement for the continued advocacy. As a professional voice of the people, you have become allied and continue this until this becomes law. Very, very kind. Need to advocate. As Jennifer says every day, how many times have you advocated today? You could separate your week based upon if you're leaving voice messages or just calling up. Because guess what? We have 2 C's, 2 W's, and 2 S's. Those are the legislators who've told viewers of this channel they would be doing at least 2 checks. And they are the 2 S's, Sanders and Schumer, the 2 W's, Warren and Wyden, and the 2 S's, Coons and Casey. Let's do that again. Coons and Casey, Warren and Wyden, Sanders and Schumer. Give yourself a C day, a W day, and an S day. In the second half of this video, we have a lot coming up, and it starts with the confusion of whether the recon can get to a vote tonight. Can it or can it not? I'll explain the details. Based upon that deal reached last Friday, I'll be revisiting the language of the deal in the view of what's happening in the Congressional Budget Office report. Breaking news tonight. Then the vote. Will the vote happen tonight? If not, will it happen next week? Breaking news on this subject matter tonight. Price is right? No, it's not. The recon is getting much bigger. It's good for you, but what programs are in and what programs are out? Breaking news about the rent program in tonight's recording. Oh boy, it is strange across the board. Then we turn to student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven. And then the exciting details of fifth stimulus coming right behind that. We got a big second half of this recording. I'm excited you're here. Stay with me as the excitement continues on a big night with a lot of breaking news. I'll see you back in 60 seconds. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LA Late Daily for the excitement of the new LA Late live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LA Late at 9 a.m. Home LA Late returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LA Late at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LA Late. And the excitement continues right now on Evenings LA Late as the deal was reached last Friday. But tonight we re-examine the deal. And one of the language in there may be a little confusing. We'll explain what's going on. Voting. Is the voting happening tonight? And if it's not tonight, then when would it happen? Is it happening next week? I have the latest details in this recording. Price is Right, not particular so. As the price is going bigger and bolder, what will that price be? I have that examined in this accordion as well tonight additionally. Then programs in, programs out, yes, but one program's under fire tonight. It is the housing assistance. What went wrong? I have student loan debt forgiveness. Those are the details across the board. And then the exciting details of this stimulus coming right behind that. It's a huge evening. I'm really excited for you. I'm excited you're here. And thank you for joining me because this is LA, America's most watched and most talked about financial news channel in America. Live in the morning, taped in the afternoons. And coming up next is a big stream stimulus and evenings countdown. It's part of our 3-hour programming block. So join me with those two next shows. Like this video, consider becoming a member, and subscribe. Get that membership letter tonight, that membership newsletter that comes out in about 2 hours after this video. Let's go into the dramatics that is heating up about the situation. And the dramatics starts with this strange nuance that no one saw coming, and it concerns the issue across the board of the money and the infrastructure. What's going on here? So let me explain what's going on. Very, very peculiar. We got a lot going on in the second half of this recording. First of all, what about that roads and bridges? Did the president sign it? Oh, he didn't. He did not. What's going on here? Last Friday night, right before the vote was supposed to happen on the roads and bridges, the president's chief of staff and press secretary and the president himself said, as soon as this becomes law, I'm going to sign it into law. Right, as soon as the House votes on and passes it, I'm going to sign it into law right away. He didn't. Then the vote happened. And then it was passed by the House, and he didn't sign it. Did he sign it the next day? No. In fact, it's nearly a half a week later. He still has not House signed the roads and bridges, which caused one reporter to ask the press secretary today, when is the president sign it? No comment. What do you mean, no comment? Okay, here's my opinion of the situation. I believe the president is holding the signing of the roads and bridges until he can get the House to approve the recon. I don't believe he's holding until the entire recon is passed, but at least just the House to approve the recon. The off-the-record sort of comment was the president was waiting for members of Congress to be back in town for him to have an opportunity to be photographed with them. I don't buy that. You knew their schedule last Friday when you made the comment, and they were in town, and you didn't take the pictures then. So I don't buy that. Very, very fascinating across the board, which brings us to a next fascinating twist. The Congressional Budget Office report. That Congressional Budget Office report critical for getting the recon for a vote. Let's go over the deal. And let's go over the two bodies of legislation. Two bodies of legislations, recon and roads and bridges. Recon is your money, also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill. Roads and bridges, not your money. And the moderate Democrats in favor of the roads and bridges. The progressives in favor of the recon. Well, last Friday, Nancy Pelosi had a problem, which was both sides said, I'm not going to vote for yours unless you vote for mine first. And so she said, okay, I got a deal. I'm going to have every moderate Democrat come forward and vote on the record and also sign a piece of paper, and they did, that they will vote in favor of the recon with the release of the report by the Congressional Budget Office no later than the week of November 15th. Okay. Now, you have heard on this channel for the last week that is a closed-door rubber stamp agreement, meaning that the moderate Democrats cannot wiggle out if the report is bad. They just have to get that report and they vote in favor of the recon. Over the last week, I said if they get the report in 1 day, then they vote. If they get the report in 7 days, they vote. And I specifically made the joke of Nancy loves to vote on Thursday nights. I mean, it's not really a joke. She does like to vote on Thursday nights. So is the vote happening tonight? It's not, because the Congressional Budget Office report is not ready. That brings us up to really what's strange tonight. Congressional Budget Office was a nonpartisan organization, released a statement Tuesday night and said, you know what? The report takes about 7 to 14 days. Okay, that's what I was reporting, about 7 days at least. They're not making particularly clear when it was requested. I've been covering it since last Tuesday, so it's been now over 7 days, it's been 8 days. But even 7 to 14 days were fine, because that means it will be ready next week, which is the week of November 14th. There's some other quotes by the CBO Tuesday night. It says, we may not be done with the full report by the week of November 14th. Okay, hold up. That's an issue because that causes a question when you look at the language of the agreement. Let's pull out that language of the agreement and read it slowly. We commit to voting in favor of the recon in its current form other than technical changes as expeditiously as we receive the fiscal report, fiscal information from the Congressional Budget Office, but no later than the week of November 15th. A lot of ways to read that sentence. The way I read the sentence is this, but by no account will be ever later than the week of November 15th. Meaning, if you don't get the report by the week of November 15th, we're still voting in favor of it on November 15th. The President of the United States and Nancy Pelosi must be aware of the statement released by the Congressional Budget Office yesterday, Tuesday night, talking about timing, and should have come out and said, I got this, I see the statement like you see the statement, we are still voting next week, even if the report's not done. One viewer yesterday said, why do they need the report if they're voting in favor, even if the report's bad? Because they want the report to go over with the bill to the Senate, which is another reason they don't need to wait past the week of November 15th. It would just help if the president clarified this, and also Pelosi. Ironically, the president's not answering questions about when is he signing the roads and bridges into law either. Very, very peculiar dance step going on. And if you work in government, you must certainly know how long it takes to do a CBO report, which causes questions. Why is the president not asking the CBO to fast track this and get it done faster than 14 days? Let's get it done 7 days. So would the report be done by next week? The CBO makes it sound like it can, but also makes a wiggle round saying, don't worry if it gets a little bit longer. Wait a second. Why is this becoming such a big issue? Because no one knows how big this recon is. And a joint taxation report released by the Democrats Thursday morning, it's a Democrat report, said the recon is not 100% paid for. The president is misspeaking. $500 billion of it would be growing the national debt because it's not completely paid for. This is a big issue, not for the House, but for the Senate, because when they send this over the Senate, they need to figure out how much of these programs costing. Programs in, programs out. A week ago, I said 3 programs that were out would go back in, and they got in. The first one is paid leave. It's at this part of the recording you want that pen and paper ready, because this is where your money is. You need to know where this money is. If you've been with this channel since at least November of 2020, I always teach you how to get this money before it becomes law, because when it becomes law, you have to pounce. A lot of this money is first come, first serve, and here we go with the first provision. Paid leave and family leave. What is it? It is staying home because of the birth of a child in the household, or sickness or illness or death in the household or yourself. So let's say your wife has to stay home because she sprained her leg for a week from work. Or let's say you have to stay home because you have the flu for a week. How much does it pay? A fortune. Under third stimulus was supposed to pay $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 or more per year. $800 a week, $35,000 annual salary. $400 a week, $15,000 annual salary. How many weeks? Up to 4 weeks per year. Whoa, that is a lot. It is. It's about $5,000, $6,000 on the high end. It's a lot of money. Eligibility is the best part. It's everyone. It's all income levels. So if you're a department store worker and you make $200,000 a year as a W-2, this is you. If you're an Uber Lyft driver, 1099, and you only make $20,000 a year, this is you. And the money is absolutely incredible. That is added in that recon. The second provision that was added into that recon that no one really saw coming is the incredible provision of SALT. In fact, I saw it coming. I saw it coming. And that incredible provision of SALT is really wonderful because it was proposed by Gothenheimer and he got it in. What did he want? He wanted this provision, which concerns state and local taxes being put on the federal tax return, going in there, and they got it in there. Let's go over the details of that program. And the huge numbers of it are the following. Here we go. When you prepare your state tax return, you pay a certain amount of taxes, for example. Let's say you may pay $15,000 of taxes this year. When you go over then to your federal tax return, you could deduct the amount of money you paid on the federal tax return from what you paid on state taxes. Good. But there's a problem. Under the 2017 tax code from Donald Trump, you can only deduct up to $10,000 of state and local taxes on your federal tax return. Now you'll be able to deduct $72,500 because of the new SALT deal put in there by Gothenheimer. Very big on states that have a lot of taxes like New York and New Jersey. They got $40 billion for job training in this recon. Really good if you want to start a San Francisco hairstyles. If you want to open your own San Francisco hairstyle salon and serve $12 ice cream, now you can get trained in both hair and yogurt. Medicaid gap fix, they got it in there. This is the 12 states, holdout states, that when Obamacare was rolled out, they offered it to their citizens, but didn't want to pay it where the governors are Republicans. So now they got it in there from Raphael Warnock and Jim Clyburn, 2 senators. The workaround plan provides subsidized private insurance to low-income people and uninsured people in those states. It's huge. Immigration reform got into this recon. I've been detailing all this week. I don't need to repeat it again, that there is no checks for immigrants in the recon. There is no checks for immigrants in the roads and bridges. That's a fake story. Then housing assistance, $150 billion for housing. This is huge, and we're going to slow it down right here because of breaking news tonight. Housing was originally $300+ billion in this recon. Then we saw on this channel live on air when it was removed before it became House bill, removed. So Maxine Waters pushed to get it back in there, got it at 100, then got to 150. There's some reports it may be 175. It is rent, it is utilities, it is mortgage assistance, it is home repairs, low-income community, it is weatherize your home, and it's purchase price of your first home. It's a lot of money. The issue tonight is a report that is out that says something's going to happen to this part of the recon when it lands in the Senate. The House bill, at the moment, is all fine. But the report claims that when it lands in the Senate, Chuck Schumer is going to modify the language so that one-third of the money, $50 billion of $150 billion of the money, will be dedicated only to one program in one city. Public housing in the city of New York. Takes your breath away. Yeah, they need that assistance, but taking 30% of the entire housing allotment for the entire country to dedicate it to one program in one city, no bueno. So we will see if that happens. And that's why advocacy is very important. You don't want to see your provisions being removed and reallocated to just one city and one issue, like fixing the walls and fixing the steps when you are wondering about fixing your roof and fixing your steps in your home. Very, 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 very important issue. When we look at fourth stimulus and third stimulus, the great news is everything from third stimulus continued over to fourth stimulus. Third stimulus had money for rent, utilities, mortgage assistance, and it's returned under fourth stimulus again. So viewers who got $30,000, $40,000 on average from this channel from third stimulus, that money is available again under fourth stimulus. You're going to do really well. But added in there is the other items. You've been sending me great questions. I said if you have great questions, PhD level questions, send to me on social media private message. The home repairs. Viewers said, how about a roof? Yeah, that's exactly what they're looking at. Market said, what about multiple repairs? They're thinking about multiple repairs, I believe. Then, under third stimulus, no, they don't have big ticket items like this. Then one person said, purchase price of your first home. Who's first? What if you're married and bought before, now you're single? We got to see the language. What type of home? Single family home, but does it have to be brick and mortar? Asks Ryan. Great question. I don't think it does. And then low income community. I don't think the purchase of the home has to be low income. And then finally, the money to weatherize your home. That is sort of obvious. The $150 billion got in there for elder care, and that's huge. And one viewer said, what about the people who take care of us? Do they get better stuff? They do. The language showed in there they get better quality of life. Then they got in there $12,500 for the purchase of an electric vehicle made by a U.S. union shop. This has caused a lot of questions from viewers, and I thought this was so easy. It's a back-end check, but people are saying, which car? Only hybrid. No, sorry, I just butchered that. Only electric. I was going with the line I was about to say. Only electric. Viewers keep on asking me about hybrid cars. No. Only electric. Brand new U.S. manufactured. So people keep on sending me a message, Toyota hybrid. No, U.S. Electric. Ford, Chrysler, GM, for example. Cheapest, then people are asking me to go do the whole lineup of the cars. Yeah, let's do a whole showcase showdown of the cars here. The Chevy Volt is the cheapest of the U.S. Electric cars I could find, about $30,000. So that would bring it potentially down to the $20,000 range. They got $65 per month per child for free meals when they're not in school. People have been asking me how old for the child. I think up to the end of high school. I think that's up to the end of the high school, but I'm not positive just yet. So there you go. One of the big wins of this recon, perhaps the biggest win, is that cheaper prescription medication language getting in there. It's huge. I asked viewers last Saturday morning on Mornings LA live how much you pay for insulin if you're on Medicare right now. I got anywhere from $500, $700 to $900 for Mark's wife. And this is Medicare. And now that's changing. It's going to be $35 because of this recon if it becomes law. What's at issue? 20 years ago when Medicare was rolled out, the charter establishment of Medicare said they have to pay whatever pharmaceutical companies, big pharma, ask for the medication. Can't negotiate. For 20 years, their arms are tied behind med back, says Ronald Wyden. Bernie says, we tried every year centers to change this. We couldn't. Finally, it changed in this recon because of Joe Biden. He picked up the phone and he called Kristen Sinema last Wednesday and said, Sinema, you have to come on board. You got to come on board. There's a big provision. And she did. He did the best thing he does possible by getting that big agreement. What I would have liked him to do, however, was also fire his press team. I would have him fire his press team. There's something that is not registering with the White House's press team, which is people need benefits in their hands instantly. They can't grasp these esoteric, in the air ideas. And that Wednesday night, he had his press team talk about Rome and climate. And people who are struggling cannot comprehend how Rome and climate helps their wallet. This is very easy. And Democratic analysts last weekend were asked, what does the president need to start doing more of? Explaining how it impacts your wallet right away. And I don't mean 10 years from now, because last Saturday, the president was talking about the infrastructure passing and how it's going to create great jobs. Those jobs are not this week. They're not this month. They're not even this year. People need to see impacts on their wallet now. This is right now. If this became a law tomorrow, immediately it would become impact on your wallet. What would it be? 20 prescription medications overnight get a dramatic slash in prices. The most expensive medications, arthritis, diabetes, and also cancer, slash dramatically overnight, like $30 a dose for insulin, instead of $900. Those 20 medications would undergo good faith negotiations with the pharmaceutical companies overnight, and they would reach an agreement. And then they can't raise them more than the cost of the escalation of inflation year to year, every year after that. It's the most expensive medication, and it'll ramp up to 30 of them by 2028. Covering Medicare's Part B and D. Chuck says we're going to do more about this next year and get it better, even better. Love it. Then Dick Durbin, Bernie, Scott Peters says it's really good for seniors. Skakowski and others said it's very, very good. This week, we're likely to see two provisions potentially come out of the recon. They are provisions the Senate parliamentarian is going to rule. Who is she? She's a lifetime government official who determines whether the provisions in the recon are allowed under Senate rules. Two provisions at jeopardy. The immigration reform. I think it's coming out because it was already ruled cannot go by recon by her before. And then the paid leave. We don't know just that. So we have to look and see what happens across the board. What's important to understand is that the senators have a lot of work to do. And I always say stay to the very end of the video because I always have a lot of important stuff to say in the video. General said in one of the videos yesterday, Lalate answers everything. If you listen through the whole video, your question will be answered. And I had people ask me questions like, and these are longtime viewers saying, when we land the Senate, is the Senate done like in one day? What day do they start the vote-a-rama in the Senate? Is like the next day? And I don't know where people are getting this notion that the Senate is going to be an overnight occurrence because you don't want it to be. I mean, you just don't want it to be because the people who want to help you think that there's major missing parts of the recon that already pays you on average about $15,000 across all these incredible clusters of checks. They want to add more items into the gaps that are existing. So you're going to get more checks on top of that. Why would you want them not to do that? Bernie says the best bill since the 1960s has been major gaps, and he has a lot of add. When asked, are you adding stuff? Of course I'm adding stuff. We need these provisions like dental and vision. We have Ron Wyan says, I have a lot of work to do. I have a significant amount still to do. We have Chris Coons, and we have Chuck, and we have Murphy, all senators saying, get ready for the work on the Senate because they're going to do add-ons across the board. So get that pen, paper ready. Let's go over some of the more provisions of this incredible recon. Universal pre-kindergarten for 1 year, 3 to 4 year olds, free. Enhanced tax credit, child tax credit, $3,600 to $3,000. Yes, 1 more year. Hard cold cash front end. I show a $60,000. Some of the notes show it $150. Earned income tax credit back end, 1 more year for my essential workers. Hearing care. This is a covered benefit. Then we have the $550 check to college students currently at Pell's Grant. People have been asking, I was Pell's like last year, I was Pell's the year before. No, there's nothing retro in the recon. It is that time forward. $65 per month for that student, and then $150 billion for the housing issues. Bernie says that dental and vision is basically a red line, and he's going to add that provision in there. Let's go over how it calculates starting right now. They're both hard cold cash checks, last in the recon. The vision would be eye exam and eyeglasses per year. That's $150. That's very simple. For example, $50 for exam, $100 for the eyeglasses per year. Just send the check out in the mail to Medicare recipients every year. The dental, more expensive. It last was an $850 check. Bernie saw it disappear, and they wanted to send you an $850 check per year if you're on Medicare for dental. It's gone now. Bernie's unhappy. He wanted 10 years, then he wanted 3 years full benefits. Now it's gone. And then finally dropping the Medicare eligibility age, Bernie is going to fight to get that in there as well. He wants at 55, not at 65. Child tax credit, $60,000 or less per year is what I show. I show the housing actually higher, $175, and I show the in-home healthcare as high as $200 billion. My opinion of the situation coming up later in this video as I go over my commentary. But first, let's turn to the exciting details of student loan debt forgiveness. More debt could be forgiven across the board. It is $10,000. The Democrats have been offered $10,000 from the president. They should take it. It would not be their only student loan debt forgiveness because they can come back and ask for more next year. He's already done executive orders for disabled people after graduation, for people who went to work in the nonprofit sector, and people who went to work in the public sector. Fifth stimulus. Boy, your benefits are going up 5.9% next year. But you want fifth stimulus. Why? Because the inflation number released this morning was horrible. It was nearly 7%, the worst number we've seen since the 1990s. And the bigger concern now is when you look at inflation, stagflation, all those confusing words, you now have the price of goods going up, that's like milk and eggs, going up faster every month than the amount of salary increases. So you're getting paid more to work on an hourly basis, but the milk and eggs is going up faster in prices. That's why you want fifth stimulus right away. Fifth stimulus raises your benefits up, then applies a new benchmark. The reason why is because the numbers for seniors are behind. They're behind these economic times. It's based upon, situations 10 years ago. So they want to raise your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, veterans benefits, then apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation, which will be 2 to 3% next year. And then they want to remove the asset cap, remove the income cap, and remove the marriage penalty. Finally, if you haven't become a member, what are you doing? The link is under the video. Click that link and become a member today. That membership sends you that newsletter, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday through Friday, via the YouTube alert system and the Lalate alert system. Why is the newsletter important? Why is it important for learning about third stimulus? Because it's all the big money repeated again under fourth stimulus. When this channel was delivering videos in December and November and October of 2020, a year ago this week, I was saying these programs will be in third stimulus. Get them now, because you learn how to get them when it becomes law in third stimulus. The great news is that all the programs in third stimulus are repeating in fourth stimulus with more on top of that. So you want to get these money under third stimulus right now. It's available because the average viewer has gotten $40,000, and then you want to get ready for fourth stimulus. And with that, let me go into my commentary as we go into the final minutes of this video. I got a lot to say tonight and see how much of it I can say. First, I'm not happy with this new inflationary number. It's a bad number. And it's basically being caused by the supply chain. It's basically saying milk and eggs are going up faster than your hourly rate is going up to work. The president says, I need to fix the supply chain first. Yeah, but that supply chain issue has been an issue for a while. It didn't just become an issue today. With supply chain as the topic of discussion out of the president's mouth, it causes a question, why is Chuck Schumer trying to eat away so much of the housing aid for fixing homes in public housing in a city, when the purpose of the housing aid was to fix supply chain issues? President's fixing supply chain issues, and the housing was to fix supply chain issues. It still is. It hasn't been modified because the legislation has not left the House yet. But Maxine Waters said, people want to get into homes. They want to buy a new home. But there's a supply chain issue, and we need to give them a little bit of assistance for some money. Then we have the rental aid. And this is why you need those aids. I don't like the money being used for something that is not an issue at the moment and has been an issue for decades to come. Not to say it shouldn't be fixed, but that is not the issue that is confronting us. There's a little bit of big question mark for me, is who in this group did not see this issue about the CBO report and its date? And who in this group is not seeing anything strange about the president not signing the roads and bridges? Now understand, I'm not any supporter of the roads and bridges bill, but it's starting to play out as to a strange sort of, did you know that this was happening? Did you plan this to happen, or did you pivot? If I was looking at the president said he was going to vote and he was going to sign the roads and bridges within 24 hours after it was done. He did not. So why not? I want a photo op with the Democrats. I just don't buy it. I don't buy it. And when asked for a clear date from his press secretary today, she wouldn't give it. It's not the Teal Monsters, her subordinate, wouldn't give a clear date. Then the CBO not giving a clear date as to when the report was going to be done. Maybe we'll be done next week, but maybe we won't. And some parts will be available early. And then Nancy and the president not even addressing the subject matter. If I was Speaker of the House, I would hear that CBO statement come out. I'd say, wait a second. Tell me what day it's going to be released. I need to know the date. I need to plan ahead of time. What date is the report going to be done? And then if I hear, it's not the week of November 14th, then I call the president. I say, hey, Mr. President, we got a problem. Get some more staffing over the CBO at the Congressional Budget Office so they can get this report done. It's an important report. We're running on a timeline. I don't see, there's the dots are not connecting here. There's something not connecting here. Maybe because the news reporters aren't asking the question. Sometimes the dots do connect, and we don't know because the news reporters didn't ask the question. I certainly did not. I thought this morning, wait a second, what happened to the roads and bridges? Was it signed into law? No one knew that until someone asked the question. I mean, you would see him do it, but no one knew it until someone asked the question. Then they said, we're not answering the question. Not answering the question? What do you mean not answering the question? So it's starting to sort of sound a little bit squirmy. And I would like a little more clarity for the situation. Not being a calendar cod. I'm not being a calendar cod. I just want a little bit more clarification as to what is going on at the issue here. There's a lot of other economic issues I can talk about in commentary, which I don't think I have running time for, which is there are federal reserves the president has stockpiled, the federal government has stockpiled for gasoline, for crude, that you can release into consumption for consumers to bring the price of gasoline down. These sort of issues are going to have to start to being addressed very soon. We have the debt ceiling limit. Someone sent me a private message about that. We have the debt ceiling limit coming in a few weeks. You have a couple of things that really sort of need to start getting done. And I got it. You did climate. You did climate. But listen, it's November. It's starting to get a little cold outside. people are paying a lot of money at gas. They're paying a lot of money on milk. They're paying a lot of money on eggs. They see these things. And if you're up in the pie in the sky with the climate and the climate and the climate, they're going to say, wait a second, what about my hands? What about my wallet? I just paid, I don't know where you are. Let's do this right now in the live chat. How much you're paying for gasoline a gallon? Right now in Los Angeles, you're seeing anywhere from $4 to $6 a gallon. Yeah, $6 a gallon. And that's like regular. That's not $12 ice cream gallon. That is regular gas. It is out of control. And if you see that and you pay it, then you feel the crunch, and these are issues that need to be addressed. Finally, it's important to watch the entire video through. And I'm not saying that because I want you to, because I do want you to watch the whole video through. But as General said in one of the chats last night, she said, hey, he answers these questions. You need to watch the video through. I have longtime viewers of this channel sending me messages very donut-ish, like, once the House passes the bill, what day does my MSC go out? Oh, there is no MSC in the House bill. It needs to be added on the Senate side. And the Senate is not, and that House, and the passage of a bill on the House side does not make it a law. You have to have the Senate approve it and the President sign it a law. Moreover, the Senate is not going to be a one-day process. You don't want it a one-day process because they have a lot of provisions to add in there. And there's always the problem and question of whether the Senate actually passes the recon. There's always the question of whether the Senate actually passes the recon. So I always concern myself when I record something, and then it's very clear on camera. Then someone asks me about something, but I get asked about more than once. Then it causes me concern. Either I didn't make it clear enough, which maybe I didn't, or that someone's that they're just sort of skipping through the commercial break. I don't know. But I will stay on point to make sure you understand all these things across the board. And that's why you need to join me next with Evening's Countdown, which will cover more about the subject as well. Then we go into Street and Stimulus. And with that, subscribe. 400,000 subscribers a YouTube record. I want your part of the incredible family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like this video, 2,000-3,000 likes, and consider becoming a member. Join me next on Evening's Countdown and Street and Stimulus, our continued 3-hour programming block tonight. And then join me tomorrow, and then join me tonight on 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11:30 shows all throughout the night. It's a big, bold, beautiful evening. I'm glad you're here. Continue to advocate your 2 C's, your 2 W's, and your 2 S's. Mark it on your calendar and figure out which day is for which 2 you're going to advocate. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful evening across the board, and stay with Lalate.